Hello, and welcome to something that isn't Russia. So I've been asked by a hypothetical viewer why I've been so concerned about going over the infamy limit, and I think the best way to demonstrate this is with a ridiculously over-the-top example. But before that, I'd just like to give a bit of backstory about this campaign. I played a game as Byzantium a while back, and things went really well. The Ottomans were punished pretty heavily by the Timurids, allowing me to reclaim Greece and then go on to regain back the core territories fairly quickly. My whole objective for that campaign was just to prevent Byzantium from falling, and with that done so soon, I decided to try and recreate her under the rule of Justinian. With that done, I decided it was only right to try and recreate Rome in its entirety. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that before the time ran out. France proved to be far too much of a beast to combat. It was late in the game and there were forts all over, and a never-ending army of men would invade, and casualties were just far too high after assaulting the forts. As an aside, eventually something rather bizarre happened. A group of rebels spawned in Leipzig, and France decided to send the entirety of her armies to deal with them. Except she didn't. That's right, 215,000 French troops surrounded a rebel army of 4,000 and stood there for what seemed like forever. So anyway, I decided to start a game as what I believe is one of the strongest starting nations, and then try to recreate the Roman Empire. This is what I came up with. I wasn't successful. The infamy limit was just far too strict and held me back from conquering as rapidly as I would have liked. A huge problem with EU3, in my opinion, is the fact that once a nation starts colonising, you cannot take their capital. You can't demand it in a peace treaty unless you have it surrounded with your own core provinces. Given the amount of colonial expansion in the game, it can be really, really silly. I mean, let's take an actual example and say I'd conquered the entirety of England, with the exception of London. I couldn't demand London in a peace treaty because, there's an Englishman way over in South America somewhere. It's ridiculous. To combat that, what I did was vassalise Portugal at the very beginning, hoping she would colonise the entire world by herself, leaving nowhere for the rest of Europe to expand to. It was nice in theory. Returning to my original point, however, after being my vassal for around about 300 years, I have the option of demanding Portugal becomes annexed by me and incorporate the entirety of Portugal into my country. Just to put that into context, we're not talking about 4 provinces here. We're talking about a bajillion provinces. Where are they? There's some here, in Canada, down towards America, pretty much all of the sort of Caribbean, South America. Anyway, the point is, bit of Africa, the point is, if I demand annexation, I'm going to get 62 infamy. Now, I'm already over the limit ever so slightly, so I'm just going to do this, and I'll show you what happens, and why I don't want to go over the infamy limit ever again. So let's just start this rolling. Okay, so yeah, we take it. Yeah, all this new territory. It'll be easier to show it off. Yeah, still more of America. The West Indies. East Indies, sorry. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, let's just pretend that didn't happen. I just happened to have gained 85 infamy through various activities. Let's see what the game does to us. In previous versions of EU3, the only thing that would happen was that that everybody else in the world would gain a casus belli against you. But now your country will collapse. Because you have these things: forced revolts. The loyal subjects of Spain have long carried the enormous burden of the king's constant wars without complaint. Those days are now over. Since Balthazar Carlos I doesn't seem to listen to reason, the people of Avignon have decided to try sabre rattling. So 4 options. 11 noble regiments could spawn, 16 noble regiments could spawn, 11 peasants, or 16 peasants. And yeah, this isn't a rare event. As we continue on, we're going to get more and more of them. Fouls. Conversion, nice. Ile-de-France. And these aren't small groups of rebels either. Tangiers, Konya, Chumash. Province lost. Angora. Leone. I can't click fast enough. Patriot sentiments. Our neighbours think we're the spawn of the devil, and we get an increased revolt risk of 15 in a random province. Go away. Too many pop-ups. More revolts. More revolts. Would you believe it? A revolution. I do have quite a lot of armies spread around, so I am dealing with some of them. But it will not take long at all before these tens of thousands of troops overwhelm you. Now, I was hoping I would have had another one of the many events that would happen. There's a whole gamut of kind of nasty events that would happen to you. You can have all your magistrates kind of give up and leave. They just quit your government. You can lose... Oh, how random. We become the Pope. You can lose tons of army and naval tradition. Inflation can skyrocket randomly. I'm just trying to keep up with clicking here. And, oh my god, so many pop-ups, go away. And bear in mind that I based this entire campaign around keeping infamy under control. As a result of that, I'm losing 2.5 infamy per year. But we're talking about a huge amount, and that's not a normal kind of reduction amount. In my Russian campaign at the moment, we're dealing with about minus 1.2. I can't click fast enough. Liguria, Ferrara, Gibraltar, Bermuda, Savoy. I can't click anywhere. And it isn't even full speed. So yeah, try running an empire when all this is happening. Oh yeah, okay, and you can also lose stability, which is nice. Our nation is extremely infamous, and there are a lot of people in Spain that has taken exception to this. So in conclusion, no matter how large and powerful you get as an empire, infamy can always bring you down. And give you repetitive strain injury from dealing with all these pop-ups. Thanks for watching, guys, and I suppose this is a kind of one-off video demonstration thing. I'd just like to thank everyone who likes and comments my videos. I love talking to people about this game. I'm sure I've mentioned this a few times before, but thank you. I genuinely like hearing from people about this. So, yeah, thank you. And we lose merchants as well. I'll conquer them too, damn it! Take care, guys.